Business Insider for February the 9th, 2024, featured a report titled, "Angry European Farmers Are Blocking Freeways with Tractors and Spraying Manure on Buildings Over Green Push." Close quotes. A continuing string of efforts to go climate neutral, plus high inflation that has pushed up farmers' expenses, has produced protests in multiple countries in Europe. Farmers have blocked major roads with their tractors and have disrupted the flow of traffic in high population areas. On some main traffic arteries, stopped tractors, manure spreaders, and wagons are lined up, sometimes as far as the eye can see. Italian farmers are unhappy with water management policies that restrict their access to water for irrigation. These policies often prioritize other uses, such as residential or industrial, over agricultural needs, leading to water shortages during critical growing seasons. Many European farmers are frustrated by pesticide restrictions. While admitting the need to take care of the environment, farmers feel these regulations are unreasonable and hinder protecting crops from insect devastation. Many farmers believe these unworkable rules are made by unreasonable people who have never worked in agriculture. Some farmers see manufactured meat as a real threat that could destroy the need for the traditional farm with fields and pastures. Scientists have been experimenting with a small sample of cells from high-quality livestock animals like cows and chickens, and then identify the cells that can multiply and form tasty meat products. They cultivate these cells in a controlled environment, providing essential nutrients for replication and maturation. After recreating the conditions that naturally exist inside an animal's body, the cells continue growing. They harvest the meat that is produced, process it like conventional meat, and prepare it for human consumption. Farmers are very unhappy with that. Manufactured meat does away with the need for large tracts of acreage devoted to pasturing livestock, which is sometimes extremely messy and produces volumes of bovine flatulence that is believed to deplete the ozone layer, at least according to some green enthusiasts. In view of the upcoming elections, conservatives are hoping to make major gains by rallying around the growing opposition to environmental reforms as a campaign theme. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen canceled plans to reduce the use of pesticides and modified plans to cut non-CO2 emissions. Ms. von der Leyen showed wisdom in saying that in the context of the many challenges farmers are facing, farmers deserve a hearing. In the Netherlands, a plan to reduce nitrogen emissions by closing thousands of farms led to a rebellion at the polls that toppled the government. It also opened the door to conservative Geert Wilders to win the subsequent election. Wilders is the new Dutch leader who is halting the Muslim invasion of the Netherlands. He has won hearty applause from Dutch nationalists. In Europe, farmers only account for about 4% of Europe's working population. However, Europe's political leaders are coming to realize the crisis in agriculture has huge implications. A perfect storm of factors: rising energy costs, competition from lightly regulated foreign imports, and supermarket profit gouging have driven angry farmers from the farms to the streets of national capitals. And the farmers' revolt has also broken out in India. Independent Online, IOL, reports that a huge line of tractors stretching nearly as far as one can see is heading towards New Delhi, determined to bring complaints and woes to India's political leaders. However, India's leaders are not as gentle as those in Europe. The tractors and protesters have been stalled halfway to New Delhi by a fortress-like wall of concrete, manned by hundreds of baton-wielding riot police guarding strategically placed lines of barricades. From behind rolls of razor wire, police alternate between spraying the crowds with water cannon and dropping tear gas from swarms of overhead drones. One angry farmer complained and said, We work long hours in the field and still struggle to make ends meet, but when we demand something from the government, we are met with pellets and baton charges. The farmers said they launched their march to New Delhi recalling a January 2021 protest when they smashed through barriers and rolled into the city. Why? Well, because politicians are not listening. The farmers are fed up with being dumped on by drones and are raising a cloud of kites to entangle the drones. Others have soaked sacks of water ready to be thrown onto tear gas canisters to dampen their effect. It's good to see that Europeans and others are fighting back against global elitists who have no concerns for individual needs. Their only concern is in pushing through a globalist ideology that people are quickly learning to hate. Maybe it's time for American farmers to jam the roads and fling manure at government offices as well. However things turn out, the civilized world is quickly disintegrating. We seem very close to an omega point in world history. There is one constant, however, and it is found in Genesis 8:22. While the earth remaineth, seedtime and harvest and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Dear friends, if you are living in our world today, you know how bad it really is. There is a way of having victory over all of this. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. That means delivered, brought to the very gates of heaven by the mercy of God.